It's a bird. It's a plane. Nope, it's a bunch of Super Powers Superman action figures from McFarlane Toys. Superman's back in the spotlight with the release of the new trailer for James Gunn's version of the Superman film, slated to be released in July 11th of 2025. So today we're going to be taking a look at some of the Superman action figures that have been brought out by McFarlane Toys over the past couple of years. And there's quite a few to go through, so let's get started right here with Wave 1 release of Superman that came out alongside Batman and Darkseid. And it's definitely a cool homage to the original 1984 Kenner releases. So here's one of those originals here. And not an original cape on there, that's one that I custom made myself. But as you can see, it's pretty close in kind of design and size. This one's maybe about 1/4 of an inch taller, so it's not exactly the same scale. And then it is missing those cool action features too. You know, you squeeze the legs, nothing's going to happen there. But not necessarily a bad thing either, because it'll probably help the figure stand the test of time. You end up getting a lot of kind of loose joints and, broken action features with these figures. But yeah, it does feel like a nice solid figure. Without that action feature there. The cape kind of leaves a little bit to be desired on this first wave. It's kind of a cheap polyester material. And then the way they had it packaged, they put a little clear piece of plastic through the cape to hold it into place. So you end up with this little pinhole there. Not ideal, but they did end up fixing that with some later releases. And we did have to wait a little while before we got another Superman. It was about a year later with Wave 5 that we ended up getting the Reborn variant of Superman. I don't actually have one in stock, but here is a photo here that we can put side by side. Same exact sculpt, although the belt was swapped out. Now these belts are actually separate pieces. It's not actually part of the body sculpt, but it's glued on the manufacturer. You can kind of see a seam there on the back. So they swapped out the belt and basically made a whole new figure with this Reborn variant. A bit of a darker blue. It doesn't have the paint on the midsection, the legs there, but you can still see the outline. But yeah, all in all, it's pretty much just a repaint release of Superman there. And pretty much every wave going forward after Wave 4, we did get a Superman with it. At least one version of Superman. Sometimes we get more. So with Wave 6, that's no exception here. We ended up getting Justice Lord Superman, which is a very cool repaint. Definitely looks a lot different. And he's got that kind of salt and pepper hairstyle there. And a really nice silver and black design there. Now, Justice Lord Superman was first appeared in the Justice League cartoon show back in 2003. And then he was in some comic books later, like Lord Superman versus Batman Beyond, for example. But definitely cool to get an action figure of him. And, just different enough that it doesn't feel like we're buying the same figure again here. Right, and then let's keep on moving along down the line. After Lord Justice Superman, we ended up getting a gold variant Superman to celebrate the 40th anniversary, because this year, 2024, is the 40th anniversary since the 1984 Super Powers line came into fruition. So yeah, we've been getting a lot of gold figures here. Superman seems to be one of the more common ones to find, but they have released a lot of different gold variants, including the Flash, Batman, more recently Wonder Woman and Aquaman have been released. But yeah, this is definitely cool. Again, the exact same sculpt that we've seen before with a few paint variances, but it does have that really nice new cape material that we saw with Reborn and Lord Superman. So at least they are making some pretty nice improvements overall here. All right, and then we ended up seeing a couple of Supermans with the release of Wave 8. Again, I don't have any of those here in stock, but let's start with the Flesher Fleischer variant. I think that's how you say it. It's based on the 1940s Superman TV series that was made by Fleischer Productions. Dave Fleischer was the director of the series there. But yeah, again, of course, it's the exact same sculpt as the other ones that we've seen so far. Although they did change that Superman emblem on his chest and a few different kind of paint differences there. Now this wave did also see a black and white accent version of Superman released. And yeah, there he is right there. So I don't know if you're counting, but that's so far we've got 6 different repaints of the exact same sculpt. So we were pretty excited when Wave 9 finally came out and we got a whole new sculpt of Superman with the classic version of Superman. So here he is right here, classic Superman. At first glance it might seem pretty similar to what we already have, although if you look a little closer, his body is a completely new sculpt. His stance of his legs is definitely much wider, which I think gives him more of a kind of a powerful look, and definitely easier to get him to stand up too. His fists have been scaled down a little bit too. The original one, I find the fists are like pretty close to the size of his head, so that's nice that they kind of fixed the proportions on that. The belt is a little bit thinner now too, and we've got the exact same cape here that we got with, Reborn and the gold variant and a lot of the other ones. So yeah, definitely nice to see that there, and of course no hole in the cape this time. The head sculpt, they did a really good job with this. It kind of gives me a Christopher Reeves type of vibe to that. And then the color of the suit, I'd say is pretty close to what we got with the Toy Biz line. So it's definitely like a lighter blue color that I find to be really, really nostalgic. So definitely awesome to see that guy come out there and totally new sculpt. And it's about time too. I don't think people would have stood for another repaint release of the same sculpt, but what can you do? But to make up for that, they did release pretty much the same figure with the same wave in Wave 9. That's the Bizarro figure. Technically not a Superman figure, I know, but I figured I'd feature him here just because he does use that exact same sculpt as classic Superman. As far as the body goes anyway. His head does have a brand new sculpt on there though, with some really nice details. You can see some cracks through his face that even have some paint details in them. He comes with this cool Bizarro #1 emblem on his necklace there on the chest. So that's kind of a cool little accessory feature. And if you lift that up, you can see his emblem has been mirrored, so flipped around, reversed, just like in the comic books. And same goes for the cape on the back. It's a little bit shorter than the classic Superman and other Superman capes, but they did kind of go that extra mile to put the detail of the cape mirrored and reversed on the back there. So very cool stuff. I was super happy with Wave 9 with what they came out with there. And we do have some more Superman coming down the pipe here. And we did see a little bit of a leak for Wave 10 come out. And this is... Oh, that's not... Here he is. That's the Superman from Wave 10 that we're going to get. Apparently it's a chase variant, so it might be a little bit harder to find than some of the other figures. But it looks like a brand new sculpt here. He's definitely more beefed up. He's got kind of a mullet style of hairstyle, it looks like. But that's super cool. We're excited to see that along with the other figures coming out with Wave 10. Yeah, and other than that, it looks like there's going to be some more Superman figures coming out with the movie next year. So we're excited to see that. Even a Fortress of Solitude playset has been rumored to be coming out. So hopefully that'll be coming out too, and we'll be keeping an eye on that. So I think that's all that we've got for this week. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and until next time, don't forget to look up.